It's Wednesday. It's the first Wednesday in October, start of the winter series, and we all know what the news was this week. The massive news that RGT is going to be no longer at the end of the month. So we've had to squeeze a series into 4 races, 4 Wednesdays throughout October, consecutive Wednesdays, so 4 weeks running now. We'll be here on a Wednesday night with RGT. The very, very, very last one after nearly 4 years will be on the 25th of October. Sign up for all of those now. If you go on westlondoncycling.com, you'll see a link to the series and you can enter via there. Now, of course, we've been somewhat preparing ourselves for the worst over the recent months, and we got very involved with IndieVelo at the beginning of the summer. And in July, we started running races on there. We run a whole series on IndieVelo every Monday night called Monday Malarkey. When you watch the race, you'll see that we put up banners informing you this. So if you're an RGT rider looking to continue with us, then just go over to Monday nights. In fact, you'll recognise quite a few faces on those races. The majority, not all, but the majority are RGT names that you'll know. So you'll be very at home on our Monday night series. So at 7:30 UK time every single Monday. And as I say, it's called Monday Malarkey. We just changed the name a little bit to differentiate from this series. We didn't know this series was going to end, but we were sort of, shall we say, speculative in the sense that we just kind of felt that Wahoo wasn't really giving RGT a lot early this year, and decided it's probably best to sort of have a secondary series somewhere. And as it turns out, that hunch was right. And thanks to everybody who concurred with me. Let's have a quick look at what we've got tonight. No standings because it's the first race in a new series. It's the Runnymede Rumble. It starts in Windsor, goes through the cast, past the castle, runs along the River Thames essentially, and crosses it a few times. Goes over at Staines Bridge, and there we are. Let's pass the M25 into Staines, over the bridge, back out under the M25 and into Wraysbury and Horton, where it ends. So it's very, very flat because it's essentially just going along a riverbank for most of that ride. There's a little bump right at the beginning. If you look at the profile at the bottom, you'll see that it's sort of there's a titchy little rise, and it sort of drops down to the river elevation, and the whole of the rest of the race is effectively on the river level. You see on the map there on the right, Heathrow Airport, if you want a bearing. This is where we're at, and you can see it's fairly busy on the start line. 16 seconds, 14 seconds now to go, and let's see how it unfolds. As I say, a dead flat course. In the early days when we used to run this, of course, it used to always end in a sprint finish, but I don't think it will today. I think groups will form, and already a couple of people dropping off the back there. Some of them in West London kit as well. 64 riders starting off. You can see these riders here just fighting to get back onto the get into that peloton, because if you don't miss that break at the beginning, you're in big trouble for the rest of the race, especially on this one where there will be pressure on the front. And the riders we're looking at here, Sirace Hopkins for Riak in there, Colleen Hoskins, we see Roland there. These guys are probably best to form a little group of their own. Vassilotti here, 56th position, and we see Gavin Grant at 57, Scotsman living in the south of France. Christine Meek, glad to see you back, Christine. Fantastic to see 2 races running. Migu Canada at 54 in there, Hoskins at 55, and these are the back markers. There's Christine there in her westerly colours. Lives down in Malmesbury these days, no longer West London. So Daniel Schock is at the front of the race. Andy Beale is in second place at the moment on the front of a peloton. Bernard, the Frenchman, Marino Cesson, Wouter Claes, Nick Greenhouse, Craig Jones, Andre Dubé there, and who else we got? Jorgen van Beurs. Keeps moving. I see Roy the Rocket Neild for Moon Riders, of course. Schock out the front though, causing a bit of a gap there. He's got 35 metres. That's quite a lot. On a flat race like this, I mean, I think you've got to be fairly confident of your power that you can keep this up. See, Healy there is now he's ahead of Heinrich Mard in the the Swede, sorry, I should say. About to say Dane. Anders Ostergaard there representing Dane. John Sammer in for Pokemotion. Who else have we got? Andy Bill dropping back a bit. Jan Linden for Pokemotion as well. Here's Heinrich now. Heinrich Mard in second place. Strong rider. I think he'll probably try and make that gap up. He's down to 11 metres behind Daniel Schock now. So I think that'll happen. Simons, the Belgian, also coming up. And I think I think you're going to see the peloton close that gap and Schock sensibly getting back in it. It's quite a way to go. 1.62 kilometres into this race. It's about 16 kilometres long. Heinrich Mard now. Wouter Klees on the front now. We're used to seeing Wouter Klees on the front. Not usually this early. Wouter will know this course from previous races. I don't think he'll really push it out on the front, but all the strong riders, they do like to put a little turn on the front, and they all do it, and I think they all contribute to this, just to stretch it out, reduce the bunch. And as I say, in the early days when we put in these races, I see Matt Hammonds and then Mark Rowbottom. Great to see. It's, as I say, in the early days when we ran this course, it used to end in a massive bunch sprint, and some of the best riders just got caught out by people who'd managed to sit in the bunch and stay the distance and then just out sprint them at the end. And this is why I think some of the stronger riders like to whittle it down into the stronger riders that survive. And I think, as I say, I think we've said this before. We kind of like the idea that the lesser riders form their own groups and have their own little races at the end and the sprint and everything. So I think it's quite exciting. If you're sprinting for 20th position, and you're at the front of a little bunch, then that's fantastic. So great to see Andy Beale still in there. Wouter Klees, Scott Schloss, Mark Rowbottom, and these front 10 looking fairly similar. I mean, that is thinning down a little bit. We'll see what happens. As I say, if you can keep yourself in the group without... there's one rider out there on the right, obviously not using the steering and can't get in the bunch. So that rider on the right, not getting the benefit of the drop. However, that rider on the right is powering through the group and has just gone up front. I think it's Ingmar van Beurs, No, it's not. It's Daniel. I beg your pardon. That's Jorgen van Beurs by his side, the Netherlander. So Daniel, the Belgian now, all the way up the side without any benefit of the draft. And it's now in the lead. Everybody else pulling over as I think Wouter Klees pulled over to get the draft. And others have come over and joined, and the whole peloton swung over to this side. Again, you can see another rider on the other rider sort of swinging over a little bit, but there's a rider towards the back, not really taking the draft, maybe coming around a little bit, has gone in and taken the draft now. If you use the steering well on this, it can be good. Not sure that RGT got it right with the effect of barging other riders out the way. I wouldn't have done it that way round. I would have had the rider in a position blocking the rider moving across. But there we are. That's the way they did it, and they're going out of business at the end of the month anyway. So we'll live with it for another 3 weeks. A little bit of a gap there, isn't there? It's I think the little bunch at the back just pulling on, and this is the sort of thing the strong riders like to do. Just cause a little bit of grief on the back because you expend a lot of energy, even if you do catch up. You keep doing that 2 or 3 times, and you've effectively burnt all your matches. And you can see little gaps appearing in that. Pressure on the front from Daniel, the Belgian. Simons, it's quite a Belgian, quite a strong Belgian contingent at the front. You've got Daniels, Simons and Wouter Klees all up there. James Melville up into 9th. First time we've seen him up in the top 10. We look a little bit further back. These riders still on there. Great to see Goten Thacker on there. He's having a quite good season. His form's quite good. He's sitting on Gusarov's wheel there, and they're probably drifting off the back. I think Goten's going to have to make a play for it now if he's going to get back on the group. He'll be delighted if he can, though. Reno Sesson causing the trouble at the front, and Goten probably suffering at the back as a result of it. And top 10 shuffling a little bit. Andre Dubé and Anders Ostergaard. We see most of these been up there. Marion Marasek we haven't mentioned, riding for Ratio Racing, of course, getting in there for the first time. Bruno Sesson, the Italian. Mark Rowbottom, one of the Ratio riders, now taking it up on the front. Not for very long. Daniel takes his place. Marion Marasek in there. Dubé, Sesson, Schosch, Uvid, the Norwegian, Dane, I beg your pardon. Uvid the Dane is in there, and Ving Yu, Frenchman. Andrei Krajewski, the Pole, lives in Manchester. Is up there. Here we have Mr. Laurent Toto Koala. Great to see you. And thank you for coming along, representing France. Very involved with the Omnium races as well. Look out for those. There's not a lot of time left. It's Thomas Lenoir. I always say Laurent, don't I? I'll tell you why it is, because I have to work with a French guy called Laurent, and it just comes out. Sorry. Healy, Jerry Healy in there. Craig Jones, John Sammer is ahead at the back of this bunch, and I think it's down to 23 in that bunch now, which is beginning to cut, isn't it? 24 metres back to Healy and Thomas Lenoir, Toto Koala. Nick Lee at 27th, Gautam Thakkar at 28th. They know each other. They might form a little bit of a group, and they do seem to be next to each other. John Sammer just hanging on a bit there. He had a bit of bad luck on Monday with a power dropout. I hope he gets better luck today, and he's drifting a little bit. Now, John's a strong rider. He can win these races, and I'm not quite sure what's causing the problem. It's not Dubray. I mean, there's somebody well off the front, isn't there, who's causing this, and I think John is about to drop out of that group. So that's sad news for him. He hasn't given up, though, has he? Look, if anything, it's coming down, isn't it? Go on, John. Get on there. He's doing it as well. Go on, John. Get in. Oh, fantastic. He's going to do it, isn't he? Look at this. He's going to do it. He's using the steering as well. So I think he's trying to get the best draft. Moving over on the other side there. I think he's done it, hasn't he? He's back in the group. So Anders Osenard was at the front. Wouter Clay's now taking over with Heinrich Mard leading the way. 6.12 kilometres to go on with 9, nearly 10 remaining. So there's plenty to go. As I say, this is a really flat course. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see the profile. You can see it's quite spread out, not as spread out as it gets on the lumpy, hilly ones, of course. And as I say, very different tactics over the years. As I say, the early days, this was a big bunch sprint, and now it's very much attrition on the front. Let's remind ourselves what it does. It comes out of Windsor, it goes past the castle, down the little hill that the castle sits on, and basically just follows the River Thames around there, crosses over it twice, and a third time at Staines. So we go along the river at Runnymede here, which is famous for the signing of the Magna Carta, if you're interested in British history or English history, I suppose. And it winds round to Wraysbury and Horton. Along the riverbank again. Runnymede there is an interesting place. It houses the signing of the Magna Carta, which was, I suppose, one of the first steps towards the king losing grip on power in English history before the United Kingdom. And it also has a plot of land that is technically American in the way that embassies in foreign cities are technically sovereign land of the other place, and that's a memorial to John F. Kennedy. And finally, it has the RAF memorial for all the pilots who fought in the Second World War, I think. And so therefore, but quite touristy and quite pretty to have a picnic along the River Thames, just probably where they're about to cycle now. And probably now, yes, they're probably in Runnymede. And it probably doesn't look too dissimilar to the actual scenery that you see in RGT there. Wouter Clay's now the man on the front, and there's Ostergaard. As I say, Wouter had a fantastic win on Monday in our IndieVelo Monday Malarkey race. So remember, basically we've got 3 more of these after tonight, and then after that it will be every Monday. Well, it already is every Monday on IndieVelo. We're actually on Series 2, and Series 2 has already started. So you're joining the party late. Absolutely fantastic on IndieVelo, and I think that's where the majority of RGT riders are going. It's not exactly the same as RGT. It has some things that are better. It's got many features to come because it's still beta testing, and it will ultimately, I think, be a great platform. But there's a lot of things it does that are slightly better. They've just gone through the halfway stage. It's just under 8 kilometres to go as we watch Daniel Schock there out the front. He's ahead of Mark Rowbottom, Nick Greenhalgh, Wouter Clays, Lance Simon, Andre Dubé, Jay Heath, and Anders Ostergaard, Heinrich Mard, and it all moves as I'm speaking, so it changes, doesn't it? And there is a gap now, 18 in that front group. Will Brown still in there for Westerly, Marion Marsek, Jan Linden for Poker Motion still in that front group. It's down to 18 riders now, though. These are the back three. A little bit of gap there. Not sure if Will's going to make that one up or not. He's leading Pokemotion's. Who's he leading from Pokemotion? It is Ivan van Beurs, isn't it? And Ivan and Jan Linden just trying to get back onto the group. Can Will get a wheel and stay with them? I'm not sure. He's now. Jan Linden's certainly going to make it. I think Will's going to get on the wheel and do that one. Oh no, they've gone again. They spurted again. Marian Marasek just sitting on Jan Linden's wheel. Not sure if Will's now 12 metres behind. He's probably dropped out of that group. And this is the attrition I'm talking about. You can see Will can see he can see what he's got to do, but it's can he make it? It's going out to 14-15. Very hard on your own now, and the riders in front of you now getting the draft. He's pulled it down a little bit, hasn't he? He's not giving up, and I think Jan Linden in the back there is probably still struggling. So I'm not sure that if Will even gets up to Jan, it's going to count, because I think it's splitting, and it's Andre Dubray putting the pressure on the front. The Frenchman now absolutely storming away. He's got 27 metres. Now, these sorts of breaks are probably a little bit... sorry, it's Anthony Dubray. I do beg your pardon. Call me Andre. Anthony Dubray. Now, he's got 35 metres. This could be decisive. It's quite a long way at 6.5. With people like Wouter Clays... Maria, thank you. Maria Witsky from Puerto Rico, just putting up the message there. And not for me today. Good luck, all my teammates. Maria will be hosting race 3. Look out for that. Not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday afterwards. We're running in Puerto Rico. She lives in Puerto Rico. She supplied the course that they raced. Jessica Wright up there in Bolton. Thanks, Jessica. Sorry you couldn't make it. She had a COVID injection, I think, today. It's probably, I don't know, suffering from COVID or something. But we knew you weren't going to arrive. But thanks very much, Jessica, for getting in touch. See you next week. As I say, Maria hosting the Puerto Rico race, which will be the third one in the series. And we're actually sharing that with OTR's Festival of Cycling on RGT, which is one of the reasons we sort of kind of shifted the dates originally to fit in with that. And we spoke with OTR, and they were quite interested in doing something together, but we had to shift the dates to fit in with their schedule. As it's turned out, we chose a lucky date. Jan Linden now off the back. So you can see that Marian Marasek is the last one on there, 16th now. I'd say look out for the Puerto Rico one. It should be a big one. I mean, we've got OTR ourselves and the Puerto Ricans hosting it. We were very popular last year when we went to Dominica in the Caribbean, so our second trip to the Caribbean will be our last, at least in virtual racing. You never know, though. I think IndieVelo have indicated that they are looking to get an equivalent of Magic Roads up and running, so at some point we hopefully will be doing all this. Stick with IndieVelo. It is just beta testing. It launched I'm trying to think when now, probably June or July. I know that I was running races on it from almost the start. I was the first person to put races on there. I think James at OTR was putting on TTs on at the same time. He might have beaten me slightly, actually, but the two of us were putting on races from the get-go on there, and they've turned out to be very successful. So and each week what we're finding with IndieVelo as well is that they are adding things, or if there's a little glitch, it gets sorted out very, very quickly. As I say, it's only beta testing, and there is so much more to come. It's going to be the platform, so even if it isn't quite everything that you're looking for now, sit with it, because it's going to be. Now, there are splits appearing here as we get further down the course. We're getting to the business end of this. Roy Neild off the back. Now that surprised me. Roy's a pretty good rider, Roy the Rocket Neal. And I don't usually expect him to fall off the back, so I think that's an indication of the sort of pace they're doing up here. We're looking at sort of 43 kph down to 15, and it goes back again and again. Well, I keep saying it's this attritional thing that they're doing. It's Anders Ostergaard putting the pressure on the front. I don't think Anders expects to break away with 4.45 to go, but I think there's a coordinated thing that everybody does. Apart from doing a little turn on the front, you do a little stretch at the front, which means everybody else can, who can cope with the pace, can sit in the peloton, and you shed a few off the back. Down to 15 now. 63 riders on the course, down to 15 in contention for first place. 4 kilometres to go. That will probably be about 12 as we go through the Flamme Rouge, I'm guessing. So if you want to start betting, let's have a first little predictions. Anybody want to punch in how many they think will get through the first bunch on the Flamme Rouge? You can message if you want. So, we've seen Jessica up there, Maria giving us messages. All the apologies. So it's nice. It's nice that people who can't ride actually sit and watch this, and it's testament to ZMS who do all the production on these. As we watch Mark Rowbottom take turn on the front, Heinrich Mard again. Heinrich Mard, familiar face on the front. So as I say, if you want to give your prediction, you can actually message us and say how many you think might get through the Flamme Rouge in Group 1. 15 at the moment. Heinrich Mard very much out the front. Simons, Anthony Dubray, Daniel Schock, James Melville in there. I haven't seen an Aston McAlpine. He's the champion of the last series. Very disappointed not to see him. Did actually speak to him briefly today on social media. He didn't indicate he wasn't riding, so I'm not quite sure whether it hasn't worked out for him. I'll switch in the dates a little bit or not, but certainly a very worthy winner of the series. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody on IndieVelo, where we think we're going to have some great series too. It was Tim Humpton won the Series 1. Wouter Claes won the first race of Series 2, so there's plenty to play for. Heinrich Mard now really stretching this lot, 2.95 kilometres to go. So we are getting to the bit where it's very, very important to start. I think there's a little bit of a gap appearing towards the back. It is stretching, isn't it? You can see that. Bernard there, the Frenchman, is now 13th with a gap in front of him. He's got the Dane with him. Marian Marasek fallen off by 26. And this 16th, Daniel, at 240 metres, something has gone wrong because he spent a lot of time at the front. Maybe just burnt too many matches. So we're down to, realistically, 14 in the group now. And one of the Ratio riders, Marian Marasek, just out of the saddle there, trying to keep on this group. This is what it's like. This is why it's attritional. Just look at this. It's absolutely smashing it. 43 kph. And I must admit, I don't think I can ride that. Matt Hammond here is the Ratio racer. Ratio racing rider that we see in 13th, and I think we're down to 13th. Bernard, the Frenchman, has fallen off. It's down to 13, and looks like Moonrider's rider just off the back there, but getting back on. Bernard now, I don't think he's going to make that up. 2 kilometres to go, and the speed they're going to go at. James Melville going out on the right there in that red and white jersey, GCM one that the Glasgow United ride. Everybody switching lanes here. This is tactical. This is to pull out and leave everybody out the draft for a moment. So it means that everybody can't sit on your wheel too much. It's one of the great aspects of the steering on RGT. I'm a great fan of steering, I have to say. I will miss it once we've left, but nevertheless, James Melville taking a turn on the front, 1.6 kilometres to go. We've still got 13 riders in the mix, and Shock there for Moon Riders, just going past Havid the Dane. And there is a little split there. We've got 6 riders out the front, but I think that will pull together again. Looks like it is as we get closer and closer to the finish. Remember, this is dead flat. You can see from the profile at the bottom, we're coming up to the Flamme Rouge. There's only 300 metres to the Flamme Rouge where the last kilometre starts, and I think you can see some degree of cat and mouse, some degree of people going off the front, and each will have their own tactic. As we look at this, we're down to 13 riders, remember, but Matt Hammond and Ovid at the back there, just making sure they stay on. So we're about to hit the Flamme Rouge. Anthony Dubray now putting a turn on the front. Here's the Flamme Rouge. What's going to happen? Mark Rowbottom takes them through it. James Melville on the right. Mark moves over to the left, but it's Simons coming through on the left. Somebody needs to get on his wheel because he's breaking away. He's stolen 10 metres very, very quickly. The Moonriders rider now pulling away. He stormed out 20 metres. Lorenzo Simons is the man who's going to win this, I think. 700 metres to go. Not impossible, though. Wouter Claes is on the case. Wouter has been known to pull these sorts of breaks back, but it's 40 metres with Ride running out. 600 metres to go, up to 50 metres. I don't think they're going to catch him. James Melville is now the man at the front. Wouter's had his turn. James is now 50, 60 metres behind. That's 10% of what's left, more than 10%. Lorenzo Simon's now 70 metres. I think he's actually going to be the clear winner, the Moon Riders rider. Now, it's too far, isn't it? 77 metres with 250 to go. That was emphatic, 80 metres. He hasn't given up, has he? His teammate, Wouter Claes, is going to probably... No, Marino Sesson now going out the front. Can Marino Sesson, as we watch Lorenzo take the win through the new Monday Malarkey banner? Remember, it's Mondays on IndieVelo for us. Well done, Lorenzo. Marino Sesson, can he get it, or is it going to be a... I think Wouter got that. Nick Greenhouse looking like got fourth. James Melville fifth. And I think Wouter Clay just put Marino Sesson on the line to make it a Moon Riders 1-2. That's very much Wouter's style. I'm not quite sure what do you think of Lorenzo Simon's coming along and stealing first place as we look back at the results. Now, looking at 14th, this is Marion Mersac, the Frenchman Bernard on his wheel. Bernard's going to go for it, does, and steals the place. Daniel, the other Belgian, coming in now. Don't know what happened to him. He obviously dropped off the group at some point. Did a lot of work on the front and paid for it. John Sammer will be disappointed with 17th. I know that. Roy the Rocket Niels, similarly, will field at 18th. Wasn't so good. Tim Cummins will be pleased with 19th. I know Tim well enough. He's on great form these days. Will Brown too. Ivan Van Beurs. Andy Beale coming in for Westerly as well now. 3 Westerly riders here tonight. And Andy will come in 23rd. Jan Linden and Ivan Van Beurs, Pokemotion and Ratio Racing, respectively, are the 21st and 22nd finishers. Andy will take 23rd. He's quite clear of Craig Jones and Jerry Healy at the... I'm not sure if it is Jerry, actually. Sorry. He's just ahead of Nick Lee. Oh, sorry, there's 4 Westerly riders. I beg your pardon. Nick Lee's in there. Forgot about you, Nick. How could I? So let's have a look at the top 10. As I say, Lorenzo Simons and Wouter Claes making it a 1-2 for Moon Riders. Emphatic finish by Lorenzo. Great little sprint by Wouter Claes to steal that place from Marino Sesson, one of our regular riders. My good friend Nick Greenhouse for Ratio Racing took 4th and won of this series, the West London series. Absolute stalwarts. James Melville in 5th. Another veteran, Mark Rowland, Rowbottom, and Matt Hammond in 7th place. Anthony Dubois in 8th. Jorgen Van Beurs from Ratio again in 9th. And the Swede Henrik Mard taking 10th. Now let's watch some of these riders coming in. Gautam Thacker just coming in there in 28th. And I sort of missed the sprint there. Thomas Lanois, Toto Koala. Now the French rider just coming in 30th. Well done. That's not a bad finish. It's halfway in the course, and there's some top riders out the front. Andrei Krajewski now is just ahead of Andrew Walker. Not sure if Andrew's going to pursue this one. Looks like Andrew's giving it some. Andrew Walker not quite doing that. Stuart Thorne coming in there. Brett Smith, Caroline Reuter. I think she might be in the first woman home. Haven't seen Eileen Davidson yet. Eileen Davidson is behind her, so Caroline Reuter is going to get the... there's another one. It's Caroline Mendes as well. So RIAC are out in force, aren't they? So I think Eileen Davidson will have to settle for 3rd in the ladies, with Caroline Mendes getting in front of her. Although Eileen's not that far behind. They've got 500 metres to go. I don't know if she wants to sprint it or not, but I think Mendes is going to be the second RIAC. I think it's going to be a 1-2 for RIAC unless Eileen goes pretty soon. She's a canny racer, though. She knows what she's doing. She's probably got an eye on... It's only 2 metres in it. And she will know what she's got to do. This could be very, very interesting. Jeremy Ball in there for Westerly as well. So it's a 5th Westerly rider. Sorry, that's Hoskins in there. Eileen Davidson taking the wheel off Jerry Will. And she has gone past Mendes. I think she's going to take 2nd place in the ladies. She goes past Jerry Ball. And we'll have to see. Oh, lost that one. I think Eileen's done well there. She's taken... Here she is. It's her or Hoskins for the place. But I think she worried too much about that because the key thing is she's been Caroline Mendes for RIAC. So RIAC getting 1st and 3rd in the ladies' runnings. Collins now coming in 42nd, and I'm just trying to see if there's any other ladies. Laura Whittingham in there and Serena Ace 46 and 47. So good turnout from the ladies tonight. 5 ladies in here. Harry Smith's at 48. One of my favourite riders. He knows that. he's just one of those great blokes. He really is. He's just gone past Serena Race. And of course is 43rd. Laura Whittingham, great result. Well done. Oh, she's beaten a little bit of a bunch there, isn't she? Well done, Laura. Serena Race at 48th, a few places behind. Harry Smith, Vassilotti in between. Jorgen rolled in at 49th. I'm not sure it is Jorgen, actually. Kaloon at 50th. And Marcin Schluderek, I'm a little bit not quite sure why Marcin is 51st. Kaloon is 50th. It's 500 metres back to Marcin Schluderek. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to him. I'd expect him to do a little bit better than that. I like Phil Collins, 42nd, great name. Gavin Grant will be 52nd. Great to have you back, Gavin, and thanks for contacting me during the week. I was slightly amused at your comment about I was just about to send you the team lineups. But anyway, glad you made it tonight as well. Got home from work in time. Gavin from Twickenham Cycling Club. They are a great cycling club in our area. If you are in that sort of neck of the woods in West London, they are certainly a club to be part of. So Gavin actually runs a lot of their stuff in the south of France, and I think you can go and stay with him and ride bikes. I mean, he charges you. I think it's a business, but he does run bike tours down there as well. So look him up, Gavin Grant, and he's got a French flag, but he's actually Scottish. And rides for Twickenham. What an international man. Absolutely, he's a bit of a star. He's a nice bloke as well. So, there we are. Kaloon we're looking at the moment, aren't we? At 50th. And he's got, 86 metres to go. So we can go down the... I must say, as much as I like my Monday Malarkey banners, they're not quite as bright as the West London ones in blue, are they? But there we are. They're distinctive and you notice. Here's Marcin. I'm not quite sure what happened to Marcin. Migu Canada sitting on Grant's wheel. Now, I know Migu from a lot of these races. He actually will sit there and probably give it a go at the line. Marcin pulling away a little bit. And I think Marcin's fairly safe. That I don't think either of these two are probably strong enough to beat him in a sprint. So I'm going to assume that... he will take it all the way to the line with 450 metres to go. As I say, though, I think the interesting thing will be Migu Canada. Will he attack Gavin Grant? I'm guessing about 200 metres to go is where he will go for it. Costilla at 54, I think. Inicio at 56. Metz at 56. That's still to come behind. So here comes Marcin. He's now 56 metres in front of... Migu Canada, and Migu Canada has pulled away from Gavin Grant inside the last 200 metres. I think that's what I predicted. Now, there's nothing better than feeling smug, is there? God, I think I got that one right. There we are. Great finish. Thank you, Marcin, for being part of this over the years. You've done a fantastic contribution. Migu Canada never misses a race. Gavin Grant, my good friend from the south of France, Scotland or Twickenham or wherever he's representing at the moment. And here we have Garcella, who's a Spaniard and recently joined, but being quite a regular. Great to have you on there. Ignacio for Canada. These two are just dueling it out. 2 green jerseys, going to make that slightly difficult for the commentator. They're not quite the same, though. Metz at 56th. And look at these two. It's Ignacio takes it from Garcella. That's a bit disappointing, isn't it? But there we are. Not for Ignacio, of course, but Garcella as a regular, we give him a bit of sympathy. Metz now, the American, coming in 56th. Looking back, we're going to probably finish at about 58th with Andy Evans. Andy probably not having his best race. Something's probably awry there for Andy to be that far back. Christine Meek will be delighted with her result, though. She's only 40 metres behind Metz here. Thank you, Christine. That's 2 races running, as I said earlier, and it's always a pleasure to see you. I give my best to Keith. You're living down there in the West Country now. I don't know how many people think Malmesbury is actually the West Country. There we are. Well done, Christine. Fantastic. Well done. And here comes Andy Evans, who's going to take up the last spot, I think. There we are. It's 370 metres. The nice thing about getting the Lantern Rouge in these is that we all sit and watch you come home, because we like to see the last rider come in, and you probably get more coverage than some of the people in the top 10 when they all come in a bunch. 250 metres to go to come into Horton, and it's all around reservoirs, all the reservoirs that provide all the water for people in West London, and particularly Heathrow Airport, which is very close to this. If you're actually riding this, you'd expect lots and lots of jet aeroplanes going over your head. A bit quieter here on RGT as we come into the Monday Malarkey banners, and just a nice reminder that every Monday, it's already started, we will be... Oh, there's another rider. Sorry, I beg your pardon. So Andy, you weren't last after all. Sergio Guevara is the Sonahuja Guevara. Sorry. My Spanish is not good. I've got two daughters who speak Spanish. I should get them to do part of the commentary, shouldn't I? So sorry, that's 59th we're going to end up with. The rest are bots for camera purposes. Yavia Sanahuya. Okay, Yavia Sanahuna. That's fantastic. So well done. It's just coming through the Flamme Rouge. So as I was saying, I thought Andy was going to get all the limelight, but it's Yovia, isn't it? Sanahuna who's going to get it all. So Yovia now going through the Flamme Rouge, gets the applause of the bot crowd, goes past some more of those Monday Malarkey banners. As I say, everything's moving over to IndieVelo. It's not an official move. It's just it's the people's choice. We've been on there. We were one of the first, along with OTR, to put on races on IndieVelo when it first started back in June, July time. We've had a successful series on there already, and we're telling you, you're going to love it. So let's, while we're looking at Yove coming in, looking at the results on the right, we're going to start with 50th and work backwards. Yervi Kaloum was 50th. There's 59 finishers. George Roland is 49th. Serena Race, one of the lady riders for RIAC, was picked by Robert Gilmore. She took 48th, he took 47th. Mark Vassalotti, 46th. Harry Smits from the Netherlands, 45th. Laura Whittingham at 44th, another ladies league rider. Amiel Auguste at 43rd. Phil Collins, we said that very, very carefully, not the drummer, 42nd. Chantal Mendes, sorry, I called her Caroline, I do beg your pardon, it's Caroline Reuter. It's Chantal Mendes, I should know, another RIAC rider at 41st. A good friend of mine, Jerry Bull, 40th. And Eileen Davidson, just pipping Jerry there to get an extra point in the ladies' league. But she was 3 places behind Caroline Reuter of RIAC at 36th. Old man, this is Nick Haskins. Yeah, can I join your club, Nick? 38th, Nico De Souza at 37th. So plenty of Nicks coming in there. Brett Smith and Stu Thorne, both of West London, 34th and 35th. Murat Kalkan at 33rd. Andrew Walker, another West London rider, at 32nd, was beaten by Andre Kajewski, who is a pole living in Manchester. Thomas Manuel Coco Loire. He's 30th. Great to see him. Look out for him. He's very involved in the French rides on RGT. Joel Van New, French rider, I think. 29th was behind Gautam Thakkar, very good friend of mine, as see Yervier finish the race. Yuri Gasarov was 27th, he's 50 plus. He was behind Nick Lee at 26th. I don't know if we're going to go through the top results. We'll do the top 10, so I'm sorry if you're between 10 and 26. You're probably going to get missed here. Lorenzo Simons, what an emphatic win. Look at that, 3 seconds ahead of Wouter Claes, his teammate, who just pipped by fractions of a second Marino Sesson at the line. Nick Greenhouse piling in a little bit behind them, but less than a second at Rassel Racing, a former champion of these series. James Melville, so many, he's collecting plaques but never actually won it, I think. So one of the most decorated riders in our series. Mark Rowbottom, another gem of a name. Matt Hammond, the same from Rassel. Big names. Anthony Dubray, who's been with us in the latter years. Jorgen van Beurs, another Rassel rider who we've enjoyed company with over our years, as the same with Henrik Mard, a very, very strong rider. That was your top 10. And we'll be back for 3 more Wednesdays, consecutive, no longer alternate. And don't forget, we will be on IndieVelo. We already are on IndieVelo. It's successful, it's growing, it's developing. It's everything you are going to want. Maybe not quite yet, but it is the place to be. That's where the RGT community are going. Go to IndieVelo. We're there every Monday from 7:30. We're not replicating Wednesdays because we ran the Mondays through the summer concurrently with the RGT stuff. RGT's leaving us. We're not leaving them. And we'll see you next Monday for IndieVelo and next Wednesday for West London VR. It's so exciting. This will be the best October ever. Be there. See you soon.
Don't bend.